Hello, friends, family, watchers, listeners, everyone. This is your favorite show, Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus on Southeast Iowa Live networks, on Facebook, on YouTube. We've got Andy, we've got Hunter, we've got Peter. You see us both, me and Hunter, because we're on Zoom today. We're powered by who, Hunter?
Fairway Food Stores.
We sure are. Wait,
I drove by
I got my
Fairway.
Fairway product today.
I went by Fairway last night. I was like, oh yeah, I thought about this show. I was like, yep, we're talking about you tomorrow.
We need to get with the. We need to figure out if we can do a live from Fairway. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
What if we did a supermarket sweep?
Ooh, I like that.
Used to be a great show. I forget who they. Supermarket sweep used to be awesome. I forget who they had do supermarket sweep. They had a new host. They tried to revamp it, but the host. I don't remember who it was, but it was a girl. I remember that she made it a lot about herself and not really about supermarket sweep. And I remember watching a couple episodes and being like, they killed my childhood. Might have been. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know either.
We'll get in touch. Any salespeople or Fairway people, let's do a supermarket sweep. We could do. You know what my dream would be? This wouldn't happen because this would take a lot of people. But if we had like a tournament of all of our high school teams playing supermarket sweep at Fairway,
That'd be awesome.
be great. We're gonna talk a little football. And Hunter, I'm once again jealous of our audience today. You know why?
Why is that?
Because it's Thursday for them, and it's only Wednesday for us. That means they're closer to football.
I know. Hey, it's right around the corner though. It'll go by quick, won't it?
I actually think there's football on tonight, right? Isn't there football on every day now?
Oh yeah.
I think I saw Kennesaw State drop 5 last night in their game. 5 total points, not 5 touchdowns. I'll have to double check that, but they at least had 5 in the last few seconds. We're gonna talk about football. Hunter and I were both at some crazy games. 2 games that looked like we were gonna take a double loss for the Union coverage area. Ended up taking a double win. Double W. Yeah. Hunter, you were at Fairfield, and I remember you texting me in the second quarter, like, oh, we got some bad stuff going on over here at Fairfield. And then all of a sudden you're like, they came back and won. How did this transpire? Fairfield versus South Tama, battle of the Trojans.
Yeah. South Tama obviously enters this one, looking for their first win. So, they're hungry. And then, Fairfield, coming in, season probably hasn't went the way they've liked. Obviously, they played a lot of close games, just came out on the wrong end of them. But looking for their second win of the season, and they get it. But it wasn't easy. They had to come back on South Tama. They ended up erasing a 16-point halftime deficit to the Trojans, both Trojans. Trojans, I like calling them Trojans in blue, and then the Trojans in orange. But
yeah,
easy way to explain it. But they ended up winning at 33-29. Fairfield did. Took pretty much the entire length of the game. South Tama came out ready, came out hungry. What beer grab? They ended up putting a nice 12-play drive on their opening possession. Ended up punching her in. 2-point conversion was good. Made it 8-0 early. Fairfield responded even quicker. Just 3 plays. Luke Consell broke open for a 20-yard rush on his second carry, the Trojans' second play of that first possession, and followed up with a 47-yard touchdown. And from a spectator, you're looking at Fairfield like, oh, I mean, if they're busting out like that busting up runs like that every play, I mean, they could run away with it. But point after was no good. Ended up being 8-6. As I mentioned, and despite that quick score, Fairfield just could never get an edge on South Tama in the scoring column through that first half. South Tama continued to pound the ball. The Trojans' Cody Blocker found the end zone on their next drive, made it 15-6. Trojans continue to hang around on 4th and 1. Xander Allison found an opening in the Trojan defense and sprinted all the way to the end zone for another 47-yard touchdown by the Trojans. And just before the start of the second quarter, it was 15-13. However, South Tama really took control in that second quarter there. After blocking a South Tama punt, Fairfield had a great opportunity, to take the lead early on. But Fairfield's Voss Richardson, quarterback, was intercepted on their next drive. Out of that, and South Tama added 7 more on that following drive to make it 22-13. And then Fairfield, another great opportunity to stay kind of right in it, which is what they had been doing the whole game. But this time they ended up fumbling on their next drive with just under 2 minutes to go, and South Tama covered 45 yards in 6 plays. And literally as the buzzer sounded for halftime, they crossed the goal line and made it 29-13. And, Fairfield's back kind of against the wall there. And, I don't know what was said at halftime. I should have asked that question to Coach.
You should have. You should have Newmaned it like in Space Jam when the guy who plays Newman in Seinfeld, he hides in the locker room. That would have been some ace reporting.
Yeah,
my favorite scene in Space Jam.
Yeah, what's funny at Fairfield is like when you go like out the tunnel and you're waiting the tunnel they come out of, and you just like sit down there and you can see them all talking down there. I think it'd be if I'm just sitting out there outside the locker room just waiting.
Yeah.
But in that second half, Fairfield really found their groove on both sides of the ball. Both Allison and Consul found the end zone in the second half to pull the Trojans within 3, 29-26. And really, by this point in time, late in the fourth quarter, South Tama had a chance to really put the game on ice if they would score. They ended up getting it down to the Trojan 36, but they fumbled the snap, and it was recovered by Fairfield. So now Fairfield, time winding down, just over 3 minutes to play, and Fairfield's got a shot to take the lead. And the final 3 minutes of this game was pretty wild. So the biggest play of the game, the Trojans get it down to the South Tama 21-yard line. It's 4th and 10. It's 4th and 10. Voss Richardson just threw an incomplete pass, and the Trojans run. Oh, and prior to this, the Trojans got a big gain. Some just free yards on a roughing the passer. So at this point, 4th and 10, Fairfield has to convert. It's pretty much over. Just over a minute to go. So if South Tama stops them, they're kneeling it out and winning it. So 4th and 10, Voss Richardson kind of rolls out or steps up in the pocket, rolls out a little bit, and then steps up in the pocket, and he just kind of throws it up there for I believe it was Ethan Bisgard out there. It's kind of his main target, been his main target on the season, as it pertains to receivers. But tosses it up there. Ball falls incomplete. South Tama starts celebrating. There's a flag. Roughing the passer again on South Tama. So now it's 1st and 10 or 1st and 10 for the Trojans, and where they're sitting now, they can use the clock to their advantage because they're inside. They're well inside the Trojan 20 at this point. So there was a minute 10 left on the clock when that flag happened. So Trojans get life with the ball to South Tama 2. Allison cuts through the defense, gives the Trojans their first lead of the night, 33-29. And then, by that point, under a minute to go, South Tama having them, move the ball quickly to get down the field. And the Trojans, stood tall, if you will, picked South Tama off on that drive to pretty much seal it. And, so, it's kind of crazy. They needed almost all 4 quarters, except for a minute there. We're looking at this game for Fairfield to get it done, but Luke Consul, outstanding game on the ground, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Xander Allison, 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bisgard ended with 66 yards as well. He also caught 2 passes for 26 yards, and then Voss Richardson threw for 43 yards. Defensively, Consul was 16 tackles. Calvin McLean recovered 1 fumble, and Aiden Porter had that interception at the end of the game. And just to mention their game this week, When I wrote this, Fairfield was, they're playing Solon. Solon was number 5. It's been a kind of a spiral downfall for Solon the past couple of weeks. They were number 1 for the majority of the season. Lost to Benton, who Fairfield played with really good for 3.5 quarters. So that bumped them down to number 5. Then they lost again this last week, got routed by Williamsburg, and now Solon is number 10 in Class 3A. So still really tough team to play, obviously, because this team played with Mount Vernon really close. Solon did, but Fairfield's going to be heading up to Solon this week. I believe it's Solon's homecoming. So,
it's a late homecoming.
Yeah, or it's their senior night. It might be their senior night actually, but
either way, could be both.
But long story short, still a tough game. A Solon team that's lost a couple of big games, but still a really good team. So, yeah, but Fairfield comes back in this one. Huge win for the Trojans to kind of, it almost felt like at the end of the game, it's like, oh no, this is going to play out where one drive, one play makes the difference. And, it just happened. They get that penalty, or South Tama gets that penalty, and it gives them a little bit of life there, and they're able to score. And, they come up with the stop this time and get the win.
Yeah. Solon has, is it turf at Solon, or is it just really nice grass?
I think it's turf. I could be wrong.
So either way,
I haven't been there in like 2 years. So
but maybe the Fairfield running backs will be even faster on the quick grass.
Right.
So that was Fairfield's first district win.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Second home win though. I was up there first. I was a little bit down Highway 34 from you. What is this? Sorry, I just had some upsetting news.
Oh no.
I just had some very upsetting news. Let's just pull down the curtain. Our big company, Foley, is having a song contest.
Oh no.
Ray and I are going to cut a song today, and we thought we'd be the first entry. And I just got a text from the team that says somebody from the Gazette has already had the first mission. Anyway, ignore that. That doesn't matter. What matters is I was at Mount Pleasant.
Oh my God.
I was looking at my phone for my notes, and then it just popped up. It was like dooming. We'll beat her. Don't worry. Mount Pleasant played Keokuk. Big game in this weird district. The Mount Pleasant and Washington District Class 3, District 6 or 4. I always forget. But it says so in the newspapers. 4. There we go. Class 3.
Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant and Washington. Because Fairfield's 5, right? Or is Fairfield 6?
5. They're in. Well, I can tell you for sure in one sec. Yeah, they're 4.
Perfect. Anyway, Keokuk and Mount Pleasant both still in the running for a possible second or third place. Because there are a lot of jumbled teams. We'll get to Washington's opportunity here in a second. But Keokuk comes in. Keokuk had won every game since 2019 in this rivalry. Early on, there were some big problems for the Mount Pleasant Panther defense because, Keokuk likes to go for the throat a lot. If you've watched them play, their quarterback, Britton Horde, does a lot of scrambling, and he throws a lot of deep balls. And he threw pass after pass to Drew Campbell, a senior for Keokuk. He had about 150 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving in the first quarter, Drew Campbell did. First one was on a 26-yard swing pass. Took it to the house. PAT blocked, so Mount Pleasant actually had a 7-6 lead after a Ramsey Davis rushing touchdown. But then Keokuk hits a 45-yard touchdown pass on a 3rd and 25 to Campbell. Just bombs it right to him. And they get the ball back, and then in the final minute of the first quarter, a 70-yard touchdown pass. I mean, they were just launching it to him, and we were like, "Oh my goodness, he's going to have 200 yards in the first half." And so that makes it 20-7. Peyton Walker on a so Mount Pleasant have their backs against the walls early because they're actually down 27. They had to go for it on a 4th and 8. And Zach Newton picked it up on a scramble, which set up a Peyton Walker touchdown, which made it 20-14. So it's a close game. And then right back, less than a minute later, that happened with 8:12 left in the second quarter. Less than a minute later, 35-yard touchdown pass, Britton Horde to Drew Campbell, his fourth of the game, with 7:23 left in the second quarter. At that point, it's 27-14, so it's still, it's still in it here for Mount Pleasant. Panthers just buckle down, run the ball, chew clock, and on another fourth down, this time a 4th and goal from the 2, Zach Newton pushes forward and barely gets the ball over the goal line for a touchdown. And this became the theme where Mount Pleasant was just like, you know what? We're going to almost abandon the pass. They had a couple sneaky ones late, but they're just like, we're gonna go back and forth between Davis and Walker and Newton and just keep trying to pound it up the middle. Power run, boom, power run, boom, power run, boom. Just killed all sorts of clock doing this. So that touchdown made it 27-21 at halftime, which meant Mount Pleasant only needed one stop to get. It almost looked like I was like, okay, I don't know if Keokuk's ever going to stop Mount Pleasant's running game again, especially because they were getting to the point where I was like, if they're losing, they're going to start going for it on 4th down all the time anyway. So they could just chip away. And I was like, I don't know how Mount Pleasant is going to stop Keokuk. But Keokuk did. What happened was the defensive line for Mount Pleasant started to get pressure on Horde big time. They were sending basically the house, just doing like a cover zero, just one-on-ones on the outside. And they didn't change their defensive plan. They just kept bringing it. And so they had a couple sacks. They just generally started to get Keokuk's offense a little uncomfortable, not super uncomfortable, but they didn't have to, and I'll explain why in a second. First off, third quarter goes by, no points scored. Fourth quarter, the first play of the fourth quarter was a long field goal attempt by Keokuk. Remember, they're up 27-21, so this would be putting them up by 9. Field goal misses. Mount Pleasant takes over, and the Keokuk offense never touched the ball again for the entire game, entire fourth quarter. Mount Pleasant with the power run, bled a bunch of clock. Zach Newton scored on a 7-yard touchdown run, which after the PAT by Dylan White, that's 28-27. So Mount Pleasant's got their first lead since 7-6. 5:35 though, plenty of time for Keokuk to score. Mount Pleasant was squibbing we're doing a lot of squib kicks. Squib kick kind of bounces off of the first guy. It was like a second row player. It kind of bounced off. He did a little spin to try and get a hold of it, and it somehow kicked back to the guy behind him. The Keokuk player behind him scoops it and runs, but I don't know if he ever really had the ball fully controlled because he got blasted, fumbled, and Lou Schimmelfigen falls on the fumble. That was at the 31. So now Mount Pleasant's up 1 with the ball, and it only took 2 plays to score. Newton had a big scramble, and then Ramsey Davis scored another touchdown. The PAT was messed up. It was a bad, just kind of a bad situation. It was a bad snap, and they got the rush. And so it was only 34-27. So now, again, Keokuk's got a chance to win it late with just a few minutes left. And Mount Pleasant lines up for the kick. Squib kick bounces perfectly off of one of the upmen, one of the hands team's guys. It bounced so much to where the Keokuk kid that was now coming to scoop it kind of dove into it, and the kid that it hit dove into it. Then a bunch of Mount Pleasant kids dove on top of it, and it just squirted out perfectly. And Max Sloat got the fumble recovery or the recovery to give Mount Pleasant the ball right back. And then they just did the power run, and they got all the way inside the 10, and they got enough first downs to where they were able to kneel it out. So Keokuk doesn't touch the ball on offense for the entirety of the fourth quarter unless you count that field goal attempt. And Mount Pleasant escapes 34-27. They only passed the ball. Now let me check this. They only passed the ball 7 times. 4 of those were complete, and a couple of those were in the fourth quarter when they were running it so well. They just did little pop passes over the middle. There was a huge one by a freshman, Isaiah Lang, when they were Keokuk had stopped maybe the first or second run. short, and they tricked him with a little pop pass, and that was a big first down. But rushing the ball, so Newton went for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Davis 91 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Peyton Walker 52 yards and a touchdown. So that was a total of 284 yards and 5 touchdowns. Those look like Fairfield Trojan stats, actually. But that's kind of what Mount Pleasant has started to do too, is just run the ball so hard that they eat up the clock and stuff like that. So probably the best I've seen the Mount Pleasant offense play for sure. And then they just got all the right bounces late. I mean, you usually don't see 2, not even really onside kicks, 2 squib kicks that perfectly round up in the hands of the Panthers. So huge win for Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, I was looking back even at the Washington game, they've really found something on the ground there with with Ramsey Davis, and I was telling you last week, Ramsey Davis and Peyton Walker right now are kind of almost unstoppable, it seems like. And then obviously when Zach Newton doesn't have to throw the ball a lot and he can run, what do you have, like 159 yards or something? They're rushing.
Yeah, 139, I think. 139. Yeah.
I mean, when your quarterback's getting yards like that too, I mean, that definitely helps.
Yeah, I think, they all run the ball. It's not like the old adage is like a thunder and lightning thing where it's like you have the speed guy and then the power guy. But really, they're all kind of power guys. And then Cooper Coleman was hurt, but he's been a running back for them, and he's smaller, but he's still more of a take contact type guy. So right. I think that just wears the defense down too. You just keep getting, hit over and over and over by. And if you have 3 different guys, then you can trade off. I don't know, worked out pretty well. They were running it outside, they were running it inside, and big win because Keokuk has really had their number the last few years. And then they have Fort Madison they haven't beaten since 2019 either. Now they are going, and that is Fort Madison's homecoming next week. It is a late homecoming for Fort Madison, so potential homecoming upset there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to go to, like I said, homecoming games where there's going to be, a big crowd no matter what. And it feels like there's always intensity. So and even though, Fort Madison's looking for their first win still, you don't want to go into it. You want to go into it like you're playing like it's a championship, something like that. You never you want to go into it ready to go, basically.
That's their homecoming. That's their last home game, and they're obviously mathematically out of the playoffs. So that's a lot of stuff. But Mount Pleasant still has a lot to play for because the top 2 in the district automatically get in, and we're going to hear from you that there was a little bit of shakeup in the because it was looking like Washington and Mount Vernon were just going to play for first place and second place this weekend, which they still are playing for first place. But a little stumble at Davenport Assumption, Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this one, you and I kind of both thought that this is one that really, Washington, we thought would be kind of a big win for them. Looking at, I guess who Assumption. I mean, Assumption has played some good teams, but how Washington have been playing and things like that. We thought that they might win this one pretty handedly, but Assumption walks away with a 34-6 win over Washington. So, Washington was up there with Mount Vernon, top of the standings there, as it pertains to district wins. But now Davenport Assumption and Washington are tied because Assumption also lost to Mount Vernon. That's their only district loss. But so it's kind of a battle, like you were talking about. For the second spot in the district, it's going to come down to the last couple of weeks here. But in this one in particular, it was kind of tough from the get. On the opening drive, Logan McDowell was picked off for the first time this season, and Assumption just capitalized from then on out pretty much. The Knights followed the Demon turnover with their first points of the night on a 36-yard rush by Ben Yagi. Washington did respond as McDowell hit Connor Layden for a 59-yard touchdown. That's one thing for sure that you probably see every week from Washington, a 50-plus yard touchdown to somebody. But it was 7-6 after that. They didn't get the extra point there. And then it was pretty much all Assumption after that. Braylon Thompson threw 2 touchdowns before halftime to put the Knights up 21-6. Receiving the ball out of the half, Assumption found the score once again as Yegi scored his second of the game to make it 27-6. And really, Washington never had an answer for Yagi on the night. He scored another 6 in the fourth to seal it. McDowell with 138 yards, 1 touchdown through the air. I did throw 2 picks in that, so that's his first 2 turnovers of the season. He also led the Demons on the ground with 44 yards. Cale Williams had just 20. And then the receiving side of things, Layden caught that one lone touchdown for 59 yards. Williams had 3 receptions for 61 yards. J. Fred Espinoza had 3 catches for 18 yards. And with the loss, Washington drops 2-1 in District 4 play, 5-2 on the season. And like you said, kind of shakes it up a little bit. If Mount Pleasant can get a win, or someone can knock off Assumption and Washington wins out, it's going to be a tight race in the end. Obviously, Washington plays Mount Vernon, who's in the lead right now. That's by far the best team in the district. So if you're Washington, you're hoping Mount Pleasant takes down Assumption, or someone could nip Assumption there, and you win out. Granted, still got to beat Mount Vernon, and I think you got to beat Mount Vernon if Assumption doesn't lose, basically.
Because if you lose, it'll be that's right, to get top 2. Now in 3A, there's the top 2, and then there is a RPI. There's 4 at-larges and only 6 districts. So I'd say if Washington lost to only Assumption and Mount Vernon in district play, you probably got a pretty good shot. But so Assumption plays at Keokuk and at Mount Pleasant the last 2 games. Yep. So 2 really, next week, that's a really long drive for them. And Keokuk should be as hungry as ever, because Keokuk's not out of it mathematically either. They still have to play Mount Vernon at the end. So that's kind of how it shakes out when you're looking for people trying to steal that second or third spot. And then Washington, they have Mount Vernon at home on senior night. Yep. So if they can pull something out this Friday, then that actually makes stuff below it a lot less interesting, but that makes that really locks it up for Washington, basically.
Yeah. And it seems like they couldn't get anything going on the ground. Usually you're just seeing them running for over 100 yards easy with either McDowell or Williams. But and even in the passing side, 138 yards is pretty good. But usually, if they're not running it that well, usually McDowell, has over at least 150. But so it seems like the Assumption defense was pretty stout.
Yeah, so Assumption was, there's 2 sides of this coin. My hair just went crazy right there. When they played Fort Madison, which is now a winless team still, it's 14-13 at halftime. So it was a game at halftime, very close. And so kind of when I saw that, I was like, okay, Assumption's, even though they've played a lot of ranked teams at the beginning of the year, we kind of see that they might be lower than the Washingtons and of the world. And then when they did play at home against Mount Vernon, it was 3-0 after 1 Mount Vernon. It was only 25-14 after 3 quarters. So it was still a game after 3 quarters. So it looks like they have a little variance there. So it'll be very interesting to see what they look like against Keokuk. And then it sets up to where, let's say Washington can't beat Mount Vernon on Friday. Then Mount Vernon's the district champion, and the second place is all jumbled up based on what happens with the Assumption games, especially. So nothing really solved right now. But I don't know. That's good. I like it when nothing's solved with 2 weeks left.
No, I like it when it goes down to the wire.
Instead of just knowing who's going to go to the playoffs, and every game is kind of like, oh, who cares about this?
I'm sure the prospective teams would just like to know that they're going right now, but we're like, we love a battle down to the wire.
Resting people. Here, I'm going to run through really quick the small schools, how everyone did. Pekin, now another dominant win, this time over Wapello. Homecoming victory, 57-0. They had 275 yards and 4 touchdowns running the ball. They also had a couple defensive scores. Landon Crow scored on defense. Casey Davis scored on defense and offense. He had a 42-yard touchdown catch and a 33-yard pick six. Will Adam had over 100 yards, but Will Adams' stats don't look as crazy this time around because, one, they dominated, so they had running clock in the second half, and two, they're scoring on defense, so the offense didn't have to put up the numbers that they usually do. But 57-0 Pekin. Also in our Class A district, Columbus over Van Buren County 48-7. So Columbus kind of breaks down the Van Buren defense that have been doing so well. Riley Kalberg, 180 yards and 3 scores. Tyson Kalberg went for 96 and a score. Juan Churaz also scored. Van Buren County scored once. Will Cockrell to Aiden McEntee, but all Columbus in that one. Highland gets back offensively on a roll and defensively on a roll. 41-6 over Louisa Muscatine. That snaps a 4-game losing streak. Jose Ramirez went for 108 yards and 2 scores. Sage Hartley Norman went for 60 and a score on the ground. And he also threw 1 touchdown pass. In Class 1A, Sigourney Keota has locked up the district championship, at least a share, I guess, technically. They have to win 1 more to finish out the undefeated streak here. They came in number 9 in Class 1A, 62-26 over Colfax Mingo. Cardinal scores a couple times, but Pella Christian 62, Cardinal 12. By the way, back to that SK game, Isaac Bruns went for 164 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he caught a touchdown. That didn't count in the 164 yards, so 5 touchdowns for him. Cardinal scores, Chase Johnson had a couple touchdowns, a run and a reception. In Class 2A, Mid-Prairie, just like Sigourney Keota, they are undefeated in the district and have locked up now a share. That's locked up a share. They're favored to win it alone if they could just win 1 more game. 48-14 over Central Lee. Hudson Ehrenfeld went for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's almost the exact same story as the SK game. Just swap in Bruns and Ehrenfeld. Brady Weber with a passing and rushing touchdown.
Ehrenfeld and Bruns, I mean, I feel like the past couple weeks they've been putting up ridiculous stat lines.
we have it's been the last couple years where we've got some super good running backs, main running backs. You see that with Kalberg, you see that with Glick, you see that with all of our number 1 running backs, especially for the small schools, are just piling up yards. New London had a pretty close one against Moravia. This is actually the closest game besides our 2 big school games, this is the closest game of the weekend. 36-20 Moravia over New London. Gavin McKee-Bailey with a couple touchdown passes in that one. 1 to Cale Westerbeck, 1 to Brigham Porter, but they couldn't pull off the non-district win there. Winfield Mount Union in their last non-district game of the year before next week's big district game. That's 68-8 over Mormon Trail. Jake Edwards, 166 yards and 3 scores. Lane Genkinger, he had just under 200 yards total. He ran for 99 and he had 97 reception yards and 5 total touchdowns. So he didn't go over 100 either way, but almost got to 200. By the way, Winfield Mount Union's next game is basically for a playoff spot for them this next week. Waco is done. They play their final game of the year, regular season-wise, 60-12 over English Valleys. Clayton Miller, he just needed 4 passes in this one. And he completed 4 passes, and all 4 passes went for touchdowns. Loudon Huizenga went for 155 yards and 2 scores. So Waco just did their thing over English Valleys. They are locked into a playoff spot. They're going to get second place unless Iowa Valley gets upset. But either way, because of tiebreakers, Waco's second place. So they'll be looking for their first playoff opponent next Saturday. By the way, all of our playoff stuff will be decided on Saturday. No, the small school playoffs will be decided on Saturday. The big schools, Fairfield, Mount Pleasant, Washington, have 1 more game after this Friday. This Friday is the last game for our small schools regular season-wise. There you go. And that was all for our beautiful A block on Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. When we come back, Hunter and I both were at conference championship events last night. So do not go away. In fact, you know what? If you don't want to watch the commercials, how about this? Take the commercial time to share this video. Sorry for getting bossy. See ya.
I like that.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
Washington County Hospital and Clinics, providing quality health care that puts you first. Whether during a hospital stay, seeing a primary care provider for wellness exams or sick visits, minor surgery to a total joint replacement, or recovering from an injury, we're here when you need us.
More than you expect for your health care. Washington County Hospital and Clinics.
Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, presented by Fairway and all of our sponsors. Where we're at today, check it out. Just take a couple seconds. You know you want to go there. You know whether they're a restaurant or a car place. You want to give them your business. They give us their sponsorships. Reminder, everyone share this. We'll pay attention. You know what? You share this, I'll give you a shout out next week. Share it. Send us proof that you shared it. We'll talk you up. It'll be like a free cameo from me and Hunter.
And when you go to the businesses, let them know where you saw them.
That's right.
That's right here.
Even if you had heard of them before this show, be like, I didn't even know you guys existed until you started advertising on my favorite show. We've got some history alert. History alert. Woo! History alert.
History was made last night in Burlington.
Hunter, you were an eyewitness to world history, really. I mean, something that has never happened before happened right in front of your eyes. Tell us about it.
Yeah. I mean, Southeast Conference tournament finals. Obviously, you were in the opening rounds down there in Keokuk last week. And final rounds were in Burlington. We kind of suspected who was going to be there, and we were correct. Washington and Burlington battled it out when all was said and done for the Southeast Conference title. Washington's only Southeast Conference loss this season was a 3-0 sweep, which Andy Kretzinger was at Washington's home court. Burlington beat Washington. That was their only loss. Well, this time, the Demons were in Burlington's house. And when it mattered most, on the biggest stage, when the lights were their brightest, Washington gets its revenge for the Southeast Conference title. Their first ever in Washington history. How was that?
That's just to reiterate, this is not the first. For all you volleyball heads out there, you know the Southeast Conference tournament just started like 5 or 6 years ago. This is the first Southeast Conference championship, period.
Yeah.
Period. So,
but
big news.
Past couple weeks, I've seen Washington. I'm not sure if you've seen Washington the past 2 weeks here, but
I saw them last week because
they've been playing some great volleyball.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like a completely different team than when they played Burlington that first time and they got the sweep or fell in the sweep. But this time, another pretty good match by the two teams. Washington did lose the first set 25-21. But saved its best for last. Ended up dominating the second set 25-14, and then the final winner-take-all third set 15-11. Both teams entered the championship match undefeated in tournament play. No one dropped a set. Washington did jump out to a 13-11 lead on Burlington in that first set, but the Greyhounds ended strong. Burlington held Washington to just 8 points the rest of the way, while scoring 14 of their own for that first set win. But from then on out, Washington played like they had been playing the past couple weeks. I know they had some tough losses in some big tournaments over the weekend, but as it pertains to weekly games, they've been pretty dominant. Set 2 was all Washington. They built a 12-point advantage into the later half of the set. They led 18-6, and Burlington really just never had an answer. And Washington.
Wait a minute. That was just Hunter who left. If you're watching Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus right now, I believe that our man Hunter Muller was just ejected. Peter, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you confirm to me, so I can confirm to the audience, that Hunter was just ejected from the show? Wow. You know what? The Deep State does not want to hear about Washington winning Southeast Conference Volleyball Championships. We're going to wait for him. We're going to go. Watch this. I'm going to jump in. And I'll tell you what he was going to tell you about the Southeast Conference standings, by the way. Washington, number 1. Burlington, number 2. Fairfield won a match against Mount Pleasant for 3rd. For Mount Pleasant, number 4. I'm stalling here so you can come back. We could just pause, but you know what? This is more fun. I want the fans to see the real. We should clip that. Fort Madison, number 5. Keokuk, number 6. Maybe I should. I had a quick thing to say about the Super Conference Cross Country Championships. Maybe I should chat about it while Hunter's gone. You think so? Yes. No one responded, but yes. So timeout on the SEC Volleyball Tournament. If Hunter has anything else to say before he was so rudely interrupted by, I think, his internet connection, we'll let him say that. But shout out to the Pekin girls cross country team. I was there last night. Pekin Panthers are girls cross country champions. Chloe Glosser is a 3-time girls cross country individual champion for the SEISC. Hunter is back. Hunter, you were literally.
I was on a roll. I was feeling great.
You were on a roll, and then you just disappeared. I thought that I disappeared until I saw Peter's name in the Zoom, and I was like, "Oh wait, Hunter just got kicked out."
Computer, I had my computer plugged in, but apparently it wasn't charging. I must not have it plugged in all the way, and it just went black. I was like,
"All right, you know what? This is okay because now I gave a sneak peek about what I was going to talk to, but I want you to roll on. I did just rattle off while you were gone. I rattled off the SEC final standings."
Okay. Well, I'll jump right back in. I was talking about the dominant second set. I know that. The second set, I said, well, I think I already did say it, but built that 12-point advantage halfway through the match. Sorry, Peter, if you're going to have to do some major editing on that.
We'll just keep rolling.
But they jumped out to an 18-6 lead in the later half of that match, and really Burlington never had an answer. And like I said earlier, winning at 25-14. Washington held all the momentum heading into that third set, obviously, and it kind of showed early on. Washington kind of erupted early on for a 7-1 lead, looking like they were going to run away with it. However, Burlington didn't let up. The Greyhounds got it all the way back down to 1 on a 6-1 rally. But in the end, it wasn't enough as Washington closed out with a 7-3-1 to take the tournament title. So Washington ends the conference season with a 9-1 record. It's mentioned earlier, the Demons' first ever conference title. And they, as it pertains to the other matches, they did play Keokuk on the day too. Took care of business that one in a 2-set sweep, 25-15, 25-16. Mount Pleasant and Fairfield both competed as well. Those two teams ended up playing for the third and fourth place match. That ended up being a Fairfield win. So Fairfield gets third, Mount Pleasant fourth. Fairfield opened with a 25-23 win over the Panthers in that one. Mount Pleasant fought back in the second set for a 25-20 win, but it was the all Trojans in the third set, 15-3. That was Mount Pleasant's only loss on the day. Other than that, they defeated Keokuk 2-0, 25-15, 25-22, and also beat Fort Madison in another tight 3-set match, 2-1. But as for Fairfield, split on their day. They got that win over Mount Pleasant for the for third. Other than that, they lost to Burlington in their first match of the day, 2-0, 25-12, and 25-18. So Washington's champion, Burlington second, Fairfield third, Mount Pleasant fourth, and then Fairfield and Keokuk played for fifth and sixth, and Fort Madison. I think I said Fairfield, Fort Madison, and Keokuk played for fifth and sixth, and Fort Madison takes fifth, Keokuk sixth. So, yeah, what a ride it's been. Season's gone by pretty quick.
What a ride!
You know, we've talked about through the season that this is when the regular season is. Going through like the regular season up until this tournament, it's kind of, it's all preparing for this moment. And obviously, Washington was playing its best ball at the right time, even though it was looking like Burlington was so dominant all season long. But hey, past couple of years we've seen some teams come in and win it, and we kind of expect Washington and Burlington to be there, but Washington kind of. What a fitting end to the conference play with them taking down the only team that was able to beat them in conference play this season, in the regular season.
We said years ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, that eventually Washington was going to win the Southeast Conference in volleyball, this group. We saw them when they were freshmen. We saw the raw talent that they were bringing and said that it looks like they're on the trajectory. Because not too many years ago, a few years ago, Washington was at the bottom of the conference. In fact, I think 2 years ago, they were last in the regular season and then jumped up to like third or fourth in the conference tournament. Last year, they went to the finals. And then this year, they are back. They're up. They're not back anything. They're up as high as they have ever been. So we'll see how their postseason run goes. I was at some super conference cross country. I talked about this a little bit while you were on your sabbatical a second ago. What is it, October 16th? So, as I mentioned, the fans got a little sneak peek. The Pekin girls cross country team, you can't hold them down no matter how many seniors they lose. They lost 2 girls to injury to start the year, and they somehow still come out and win the Southeast Iowa Super Conference meet. I was going to make sure I have the full results here on my phone, because I can tell you that Chloe Glosser, junior at Pekin, came in as a freshman. We were like, oh, this freshman's pretty good. Wins the conference championship. Comes in as a sophomore, defends the conference championship for number 2. And she gets number 3 last night. Now a 3-time champion. Chloe Glosser gets first in the girls race, which leads Pekin to a first place finish. Overall, Pekin scored 76 points, which is 22 points above Hillcrest Academy, which gets second place. A big part of that was Marie Yoder getting second place for Hillcrest, and Sienna Standerson got fourth place for Hillcrest, so they had 2 in the top 4. Other girls teams, Columbus got 8th and Waco got 9th. By the way, Hillcrest beat Danville by 2 points for second place, and then that was 98-100, and Mediapolis with 106, so they were right there too. That was in the girls. The boys race now. So, the girls, we knew Chloe Glosser was going to be a big favorite. Maybe we thought, Marie Yoder might be a contender there as well. The boys race, there was like 7 or 8 guys who no one knew what was going to happen. They had a few ranked guys. Unfortunately, in our, we probably had in our union area maybe 3-4 guys that I could have saw winning this. the non-union area duo of Danville's Jackson Shacklet and Mediapolis Will Schmigdal. They go 1-2 in a very, very close race. Between those two, only 3 seconds separated them. They just started to pull away from the rest of the field, which was led by Jude Dykstra of Waco, got third. Lincoln Bainbridge right behind him in fourth from Van Buren County, and then Ty Muniz right behind them for fifth. Another Meepo kid, and then Colby Newsom of Winfield Union was seventh. I mean, they were you saw them at their turns, and it was like the whole those like 7 kids were just going at it. By the way, Landry Liffler of Van Buren County got 8th, and Mason Dahlstrom and Cole Milken of Pekin got 9th and 10th. By the way, well, you know what? I need to mention the Van Buren girls here because back to the girls really quick because I told you about Glosser and Yoder. And Sanderson. Josie Dykstra of Waco was 5th. Iris Garza of Columbus 6th. And then Riley Phillips and Kaylee Snogren of Van Buren County were 9th and 10th. So those are our top 10. Boys standings, Danville wins it, 71 points. I think when no one really knew who was going to win, Danville's a little favorite there. They win by 20 points. Mediapolis second with 91 points. Columbus third with 92 points. Van Buren County fourth with 95 points. So 4 points separate the second through fourth. So a wild one there, but good job, Pekin girls. Good job, everybody. And that's the end of our B block. When we come back to the C, after these commercials, which you will not skip. Wait. You will not skip. You will look at these commercials, and you will listen to them and obey them and give them your business. We'll just give you a quick rundown of what's going on the rest of the week because we still have some big-time stuff coming up. So stick with us.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At SEISC Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you with a flexible financing you need to install that all-season room or remodel your kitchen with a home equity line of credit. Connect with SEISC today and see why together is better.
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
3, chills, and things that go bump in the night. The Brussels House of Terror.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Welcome back. Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, powered by Hunter
Fairway.
We're all here. We're all going to stay here. And I'm going to tell you guys where to go. We do have some events, big time. The biggest event today, because you're probably watching this on Thursday, the Southeast Conference Cross Country Championships, 4:30 at Elks Golf Course in Keokuk. Sometimes we know who's going to win the conference championship, Hunter. Sometimes it's just like, even if we'll lie, we'll just sit here on camera and lie like dogs. I can honestly tell you, we don't know who's going to win this year. I think Washington and Fort Madison have been trading blows the team-wise all year. The boys' race is probably going to be close. I mean, Reese and Alderton of Washington are literally finishing like half second before and after each other. The girls, there's between Ira Stahl of Washington and Avery Rump of Fort Madison, the Keokuk girls been doing really, really well lately. So we could have a couple photo finishes at Keokuk on Thursday night.
Yeah.
It could be so close.
It's been a tight race all season long. And we kind of knew that going in that, Southeast Conference has always had really good runners, especially kind of the battle between Fort Madison and Washington.
It has built up to the ultimate showdown in Keokuk on Thursday night because they've beaten each other in boys and girls. So we'll see. And obviously there are some other runners that will be looking to spoil the party, aka the other 4 teams. So one of us will be there. You'll see us at the football fields. I actually don't know where we're going. We got Washington at Mount Vernon on Friday.
Fairfield
and Mount Pleasant both on the road.
And Mount Pleasant and Fort Madison.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant, Fort Madison. That'll be that's a possibility. Winfield plays at home, I believe. Just trying to go through in my brain who's playing at home. Mid Prairie plays on the road, I think. We'll figure it out. You know what? You'll see us. But you'll see us. You'll see us on Thursday and Friday. I promise. If you go places, you'll see us. Even if you see us on your computer. Steve's coming. Wait. Wait. Watch this. Oh, I lost it.
Today is Thursday, technically.
Oh, it is Thursday. I was going to do my patented super loud sneeze so people in the office could hear, but I screwed it up.
You lost it?
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be more in the winter. Everyone, by the way, you guys have probably figured this out. Do you think that they should just be wearing the same old bull crap that they've been wearing the other football games, their shirts and their shorts, like we've been every single Friday so far, Hunter?
I don't know. Should they?
I wouldn't. I will be bundled.
I will be wearing a sweatshirt and some pants.
They're going to get cold. You know what? It's going to trick you on Friday. What?
Said maybe even a winter coat. I don't know. If it was as cold as it was this morning, I'd be wearing a winter coat.
It was pretty chilly yesterday at the cross country meet. Not horrible. It was worse the day before, or whatever the heck I was at. So everyone remember to bring some layers because it gets late, those football games. I know it's football weather, but I got a sneeze coming. I don't think it's going to hit me. It's not going to hit me in time. You got to sneeze? You can... All right, whatever. When will we see him, Hunter?
We'll see him next week.
Next week. And 24 hours from now, you guys better be watching Opening Drive on this exact same channel. See you next week.
Later.